was really staggering in the research was just how, in really 2 decades, you see such a difference in terms of the rates of all of these obesity, heart disease, and diabetes, as I'm sure you know. And I really found it puzzling in how it could go from such a, make that transition to in such a short time.
Well, it's even more puzzling if you look at the developing world. Because in the developing world, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, this was hardly spoken about. Now India has more cardiovascular disease than the United States. And there it's clearer. Urbanization, globalization. Globalization essentially forces people to urbanize because it undermines agriculture in the native country because you bring in cheap food. So the farmers can't compete. So they move to the city. The moment you move to the city, you have all the problems of the city. Density of population, sedentary habits, junk food, and enormous stress. And these become factors that are clearly leading risk factors for cardiovascular disease. So you have, the first thing that happens is weight gain and blood pressure rise.
Okay.
Now what is interesting is where historically the rich had heart disease and the poor died from tuberculosis, maternal child disease, but the rich had heart disease. Nowadays, it's the poor that have heart disease. So you have to ask yourself, in responding to your question, what is it about poverty that conduces toward cardiovascular disease? When Osler, who was the great sort of figure in medicine at the beginning of the last century, he was really the guru of medicine. Osler's textbook of medicine, everybody reveres Osler. He thought heart disease was a disease of businessmen, well-to-do businessmen. Now, this transformation occurs, part of it is frequently when you see a problem spring up that you didn't see before, is you didn't pay attention to it. And now you begin. Somebody comes and says, look, obesity is a problem. And suddenly you look around you and there are a lot of obese people, but they've been there before. You just haven't looked.